Hello and welcome back to the Clubhouse. My name is Joe and this is Chris.
Hey.
And today we are back with another Picks video. Chris is gonna talk about something that is really special to him, so here we go.
Today I'm going to talk about a song from the legendary Miss Nina Simone. For those of you that aren't really big on Nina Simone, don't know much about her, I recommend anything you can get your hands on from her, from a greatest hits album to any of her albums. She's amazing. She's got the voice of a goddess. I don't know, everything she produced was just straight butter. Yeah, really good. So check her out.
So which song are you gonna talk about today then?
Of all the songs she did, this one might not be the one that she's best known for making, but it might be her best known song, Feeling Good. The song itself was created in 1964 for a British musical, and it was sung by a character who actually, through the performance of the song in the play, won his emancipation. 1 year later, Nina Simone, 1965, recorded this track, and when you look at the track in and of itself, the lyrics, the text is quite simple.
What are the lyrics about?
The lyrics uses a lot of imagery, a lot about not only feeling good but feeling free, ways of describing that. The idea of how a fish feels floating in water, how a bird feels flying in the air. It calls on the olfactory sense of the smell of pine trees, how you feel in those instances. It seems quite light and airy on the surface of things.
But what does she mean with those things?
Well, I mean, she didn't write it originally, like I said, but for me it does take on, and I think it does have that meaning in its original intent. But for me, it's quite special when I see Nina Simone. I see this black woman singing this song, and 1965, like I said, when you put it in the context of the black experience in America, not only in 1965 but today as well, to be able to say those things, to be able to feel those things that are being talked about in the song, which like I said, is quite simple on the surface. You got to understand, people were spitting in their faces, were giving them only second-class jobs or no jobs whatsoever. People had to, black people themselves had to use separate bathrooms, separate drinking fountains, couldn't eat in certain restaurants or could only get the food from the back door, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And in the face of all that, in the face of all the injustice of the murder, I mean, this is a full 10 years after Emmett Till. If you don't know Emmett Till, Google that right now. The horror and injustice of that is enough to shake you to your core. In the face of all of the injustice, in the face of that, she is able to maintain this feeling of freedom. The idea that you can put shackles on a person, you can keep them in prison, you can make sure that they are not only a second-class citizen, but a second-class human being. I mean, in the Constitution of the United States of America, black people were stated to be 3/5 of a human being. Wrap your head around that. In the face of all that, she remains free. You can do all that to a person, but you cannot imprison their soul. You cannot imprison who they are. and that, I think, right there is the most beautiful thing about this song.
So what else can you tell us about the song other than the lyrics?
One thing I think that is really intrinsic to Nina Simone's interpretation of this song is where she begins with it and where she takes it. It starts very down low, very, very slow, very light, and she brings it to this crescendo towards the end where she's scatting and just really letting out what I interpret as kind of a cathartic release of just all that shit, you know, all that stuff that people have been dumping on her and her people, and just that release. And man, I mean, every time I listen to this song, you know, from the slow beginning to the end, I feel the build every single time. It never gets old. I've got goosebumps by the end of this track. Every time. It's really a dope song, and I hope if you're not already into it, if you haven't sat down and really sat with it, especially within the context that I talked about today, that you sit down and you do that, because man, it is an emotional song that can hit you real deep if you allow it to.
So that's it, guys. I hope you liked this video. Do you have anything else to say?
Just, you know, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Check out Emmett Till. Check out the link below also for the song. And hope you enjoy. Cool, that's it.
See you in the next one.
Peace.